WOT Blitzers, it's a Littlefinger. Hey, we've got an FV301 full tank review here, which is the British Tier 8 light tank. And on top of that, this is a giveaway video that I am doing with Armored Pants. So look for the word to be put on the screen at some point in this video. Leave a comment down below of that word, your in-game name and server, as well as make sure that you're joined to both my YouTube channel and Armored Pants, as well as both of our Discord servers, because that's how we will contact you on the 31st once we have selected the winners. All right, so about this tank, let's take a look here. We've got 3 light tanks stemming off of the comment. The FV301 has a really nice gun, but once you get up to the Vickers and the Vickers Light, you get some guns with actually have some really nice HE pen. Unfortunately, the 20 pounder, the top gun on this tank, does not have such a great HE number, but it does have some really nice pen numbers, which we'll get into here in a second. Talking about consumables, I've got repair kit, multi-purpose, and adrenaline. Provisions, I'm running pudding and tea, improved fuel, and black tea. Ammunition, 38, 20, and 10. You won't need this many, but make sure you are buying those with credits. Equipment, running the gun rammer, getting our damage per minute up to 2708. We'll talk about that in a second. Defense system, improved optics, enhanced gun laying drive, improved assembly, engine accelerator, vertical stabilizer, and rounding it off with the toolbox. Alright guys, here is blitzstars.com. We've got the FV301 pulled up here on the left with the other Tier 8 light tanks, including the German Bulldog here, which is a premium tank. And the thing to point out here is at 2517, you've got the highest damage per minute outside of the RU. But look at the advantage you have here with your penetration numbers. It's off the chart compared to these other Tier 8 light tanks, and it is very competitive with even the mediums and then some of the heavy tanks. So that is what allows you to run the gun rammer on this tank, getting that damage per minute number up to 2700. Really nice damage per minute values in this tank. You've got great shell velocity, and it has superior weapon handling. Just look at these numbers: 0.335, 1.72, 10 degrees of gun depression, everything you could want in a gun. Now, it does suffer a little bit, as in the sense that it's not as fast as some of these other tanks at the tier, but you do have a little bit more armor to carry around. 160 on the turret armor, the same as the T54 lightweight, and you've got 76 and 51 on the sides. So you look at these other light tanks here that are just HE magnets. So this allows you to get some splash damage on this tank when others might be shooting HE at you. And then finally, if we look at the average win rate of this, right on up there, outside of the German Bulldog, which is the premium tank. Alright guys, so here's Armor Inspector. Not a whole lot to talk about with this tank. You can see your 10 degrees of gun depression, 20 of elevation. You've got 130, 86 on the lower plate. You do have some higher numbers with these angles on the turret, but as you can see, Panther 2 shooting at it is going to be mostly all green. You have to have a very steep angles at the side to ricochet anything off the sides. So really, you're not going to get too many bounces on it if you are, say, peek-a-booming behind a building or something, and you're looking at your opponent like this, pulling back and forth. If you can time it, and they can only hit this front plate here, then you might get some bounces. But outside of that, not a lot of expectations to bouncing many shots in this tank. Alright guys, so here's our first battle that I want to show you, and again, not a lot to talk about specifically tank related, but more of a playstyle of a light tank. And you can see here we're on Vineyards, we are bottom tier, and I do like to push across the stream and pull up into their kind of their rock area right in front of me. But I noticed that, look at the mini map. My team is slow off the gate, and had I rushed in there, had tanks potentially gone into the buildings, I'd be surrounded. I'm already spotted, and I'd have no support. So again, to play effectively with light tanks, it is important to have team support with you, and the only way really to check that is to check your mini map as that RHM ammo Rex, that P44 Pantera, clearing the way now for me to go where I was planning to go before and get spots up around this building. And there we go, very lucky bounce. But look at this, we have now spotted about 4 of their team. That is what we're supposed to do in a light tank, and we just use our mobility. There's that RHM just cleaning up again, using our mobility to peek-a-boom, keep these guys spotted, and allow our team to do damage because they're out of position. Obviously they flexed around behind the building, so we can take a different position, and that's what's wonderful about light tanks. We can spot up the Conway here, and I was looking at the HE pen on this, and it's just not there. Nothing you're gonna do, so really don't have to worry about it unless you come up against, say, that Waffentrager or Grill or something like that. Again, we are just using our speed, trying to make him miss, and he's gonna push across. And there's that RHM again. So now we've got hit points, and we can rush this Waffentrager. If he gets a nice shot in on us, he could potentially kill us, but we're going to use our speed, get 3 shots in, and finish him off. So, yeah, that was a quick game, but I did want to point that out just from a perspective of I could have found myself in a whole heck of a lot of trouble there by pushing too far, but I kept an eye on the mini map, and we ended up doing 2,142 damage, which is respectable. But most importantly, it is that scout medal that we want to see on these light tanks. And so there's that RHM. Not a whole lot of difference if you take out that ammo rack, but a good game by him. But if you look at EXP, I had more EXP, and that's because, we are doing the spotting here. There's 238 and there's 1120. So that's what you need to do to be effective in a light tank. All right, guys, here is False Creek. This is Supremacy, and again, we are bottom tier. They've got E75, T95, IS5, T28 prototype, Tiger 2. They have some really strong heavy tanks. And again, what I'm focusing on here is where I can set myself up to be effective without overextending myself, without getting myself into too much trouble early and having to make a run for it, just barely clinging to a few hit points. So I need support. I can't run into A with a T49 and Progetto, and I think they had one other potential tank that could be coming this way. So what I'm doing is I'm letting the T26 E4 Super Pershing there take the lead. He's obviously got more armor than I do. I want him to set up and do some spots. And here we go. Here's T49, and we've got a Conway behind me, so I know I have support back there. That's a bit unfortunate for that shot to go underneath the T49. We've got the Progetto here, and we're just trying to sneak shots in and pull back so that we don't get shot in return. T49 is looking at Cap A. I was afraid of taking a shot there, so we kind of rushed that one. Now, noticing that the Conway is finally moving in. It would have been nice to have had him come in a little bit sooner. But again, I'm not trying to give away hit points early.
Enemy armor is damaged.
Conway is finally closing in, and there was a first shot from the Conway on the T-49. Another shot that goes not quite where I was aiming it. And we've now taken 2 shots from that Progetto, the auto reloading tank. Just missed out on the kill shot on the T-49, and now I drop adrenaline way too early. That was a huge mistake on my part. Should have used it right then and there. Hoping to get another support shot here from the Conway any day now. Yeah, okay, there it is. I took one too many shots there. I was hoping the Conway would have been a little bit closer in and been able to help me out. And as you can see, the heavies have done their job on the other side, but that T-95 is still full health, which is really nice because we can pull up behind him, and I just love the accuracy on this tank. Again, we can't pen the rear of anything with this tank, and look at this on the hatch. Remember, the white dot is where you're looking, the crosshairs in my setup is where the gun is aimed. So we're being careful here. We are just a one shot, and obviously the T-95 is most weakest spot here on the rear. We set a fire. Unfortunately, I pulled back into the T-28 to get destroyed, but we do end up doing 2,500 damage. And you can see just the accuracy on this gun is really nice. I did miss a couple shots there that were a little bit rushed. Did not have time to aim, but again, over 1,000 EXP. Alright guys, so Faust. This time we are top tier. Again, supremacy. And again, with this tank, you know, there's not a whole lot to talk about as far as positioning or angling or anything like that. So again, I want to just stress the importance of understanding the mini-map and where your team is, and knowing, you know, what the circumstances is as to whether or not you can push or you need to retreat or anything like that. So as you can see, we've come up quickly to A. Nobody has come up. They've gone to B, which is a sign to me that you know, they're not coming up to A here. And so that allows us, instead of sitting on A and wasting time capping it, that allows us time to circle around and try to get to the rear of other tanks. And we've got this T-28 HTC. Now, you'll notice as soon as I turn the corner, we've got the Leo on us. We've dropped adrenaline. We're just focusing on getting the T-28 out, and I am just trying to keep the T-28 in between me and the Leo. And so now I get help from the rest of my guys that were in A, and he's missed that shot, and we'll finish him off here. And just like that, we've brawled out over 1,100 damage and taken out 2 tanks. And now you get to see the accuracy of this gun as the rest of my help has pushed in, tracking that tiger from a distance. You know, the one thing we really didn't harp on too much is the shell velocity on this gun. It is so much better, over 1,000, so much better than the other light tanks, and it really does make a difference, especially when you're shooting long distance like that. And you can see here, absolutely no chance of penning anything with HE with this tank, but that will change once you get up to the tier 9. Alright, so it's just the T-34-2 left who's been camping up here. Drop the adrenaline. We'll get another shot in here. And I actually do get out of the way for the Panther. Panther gets that kill. Would have been nice to have gotten that kill. But again, in a short amount of time, we've done 2,500 damage. And, you know, most importantly, what I want to point out is that ability to know when to push around the map and when to be more conservative. So hopefully you picked up a few tips and tricks with this tank. Certainly a very, very fun one, as are the tier 9 and 10. So with that, guys, I hope you have fun out there. Stay safe, get educated, not fingered. Littlefinger out.